guys, welcome back to episode 374 of Feast or Famine podcast with the Youngs.
We're the Youngs, but this is definitely not 300 episodes.
I think I've decided that just every time I open us up, I'm going to say a random number because we never know what number we're on.
We also don't know what we're doing still.
We still don't know what we're doing, which is really funny because we talked about experience last week.
I mean, do you ever fully know what you're doing?
No, fake it till you make it.
Fake it.
Okay. One of these days we need to have a podcast of all of the, like the little nuance. Is it a nuance? Like all the little like nuances that I have. Like today we're talking about risking it for the biscuit. Talking about failure. And I always say risk it for the biscuit. Is it a nuance or is it just a phrase? Like risk it for the biscuit is a phrase.
So Veronica-ism.
I mean, I didn't come up with that.
They're isms. Veronica-isms.
I didn't come up with that. So let's not call it that. But
it's something you say all the time.
I do say risk it for the biscuit.
So it's a Veronica-ism.
I would love a biscuit.
Just like we don't know what we're doing on this podcast is a Veronica-ism.
This is the I don't know what I'm doing podcast.
See, that's a Veronica-ism.
Anyway, today we're talking about failure and fear of it and risking it for the biscuit.
So do you like crisp flaky biscuits or do you like country biscuits?
Country?
Aren't they like home style biscuits?
I like a home style soft, like in the middle biscuit.
I like the flaky ones.
Yeah, he's
They're
weird.
like layers. And not even with gravy. You put some
jelly. Yeah, he's a jelly guy.
1-to-1 biscuit jelly ratio.
he's a huge jelly guy. Like
maybe some butter in between there.
Okay, that is fire.
That's fire.
His peanut butter and jelly ratio is
1-to-1.
Alex, it is not.
Right,
your
like
ratio is like
2-to-1.
3-to-1. Like jelly, and then like one little swipe of peanut butter.
Yeah, but like the consistency and thickness of the peanut butter, if you use a 1-to-1, when you compare it to the consistency and thickness of the jelly, you end up like... So you have to have enough jelly to counteract the peanut butter that's going to be like stuck in your face.
If you guys are not watching on YouTube, you have to go watch it on YouTube. You look like a goat.
I thought it was a llama.
Oh yeah, a llama. I'm like actually crying. Oh my god. Okay.
Well, at least we know I don't fail at looking like a llama.
That was funny. Okay, anyway.
So.
I'm hungry now. I was hungry before.
Well, we're having dinner after this. So we're talking about failure, and personally, I think that I don't think it's an I think thing. I think it's a matter of fact that most people never reach their goals or get to where they want to be because they're too afraid to start because they're afraid to fail once they do.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I agree.
That's it. Okay, end of podcast.
Could you imagine? That's it. See you next week. I agree. I mean, so I always like relate this back to, sorry, I still have tears running down my eyes from you being a llama. I always relate this back to when you stop it. We are never going to get through this and we have things to do today. I always relate it back to when I quit my job.
Oh, yes.
Because I was so afraid that I was going to quit this cush job and then just fall on my ass with my business.
Yep.
That I didn't, I mean, I had, but like it wasn't.
I mean, we were comfortable. We had great benefits.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to get a paycheck every week, 2 weeks, whatever they paid you.
Whatever, I don't even know. Yeah.
And it was a business that wasn't going anywhere.
Right. I think, so we had, disclosure, we have like a list of topics for podcasts, and one of them is Take the Leap. But I think that these two kind of coincide.
So we're kind of hitting two with one stone.
Yeah. So you kind of just have to do it. The fear of failing it's kind of dumb. Like, sorry if that's mean, but
I
like,
don't think it's dumb. I think
dumb is not the right word. It's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary fear. Boom.
I disagree with that also, though. I think
You don't think it's not? I think here.
I
Let
think
me
fear
finish.
is I think fear of failure is necessary, but when you fear it so much that you won't go toward it is when it's dumb and unnecessary and will eventually stop you in your tracks and you're never going to get anywhere past
Okay,
that.
I think I agree with you. Let me take that back. Fear of failure is not unnecessary because that fear can drive you to succeed.
Which is exactly what it did to you.
Yes.
And we've done that several times. It's like, okay,
Like,
well, we have this thing. We need to get past it. And if we don't, we're going to fail.
Yeah. I have the mindset of, and here's the deal. Like, I am afraid to fail every damn day of my life. Like, that's just how it is being a business owner. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. So let me know in the comments if you are also that way. But that fear is so heavy for me that failure is like not an option. Like I will just do something else, or I will pivot and figure it out. That's gonna be really loud in somebody's ear.
I'll duck it down a little bit in post.
I'll just have to figure it out, you know, adjust things, make it work, make it happen, because failure is not an option. And with that being said, I have obviously failed in my business. There's been times where, you know, it didn't go the way that I planned, and that's okay. And you learn from it, and you get up and you do it again, and you change the way you did it.
All right, with that last statement, let's talk about failure versus failures. And what I mean by that is, when you say failure is not an option, I think what you're referring to
Like
is the overall goal.
Yeah.
But to get there, you're going to have failures.
Yeah. And actually, it's necessary to fail.
Because if you don't fail, A, you're never going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to gain that experience. Plug last podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about experience last podcast. If you haven't listened, go listen. You're going to build that experience when you fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also going to learn what not to do next time.
Right.
And that actually kind of leads me to something that I firmly believe in. It's called, what is it called? I always forget the word when I need to have the word. And it's right there anytime I don't have it. But basically, the idea of what this is, it's probably going to pop in at some point later. But a lot of people will chase success based on what other successful people have done.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the word is.
But what you really should be doing, not focusing so much on that, but look at what people that have failed were doing and did, and just make sure you don't do those things.
It sounds like common sense, honestly, but it's really weird because when people look up to people, when people look up to others, those people that you're looking up to, you're looking at their wins, what they've done right.
Survivorship bias. I knew it.
There it is.
That's what it is. That's what it's called.
You don't look at what they did wrong. And I think that that's important to know from who you're looking up to, what they did wrong and what mistakes they made, so you don't make the same ones.
Well, and when you focus so much on what one person or a couple people did to succeed at a certain thing, you're creating a tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. And there's so many ways to do every single thing. There's no one way to do a single thing. But what you need to know is what you shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. And that is, you're only going to learn that by focusing on what the people that failed were doing. And with the age of social media and where we're at now, all you see are successes.
Right. Highlight
because
reel.
That's all people show is their highlight reel. So sometimes you have to dig for it. But failure, whether it's you actively failing or you seeing what others failed at, are ultimately what going to propel you to that success that you're chasing.
Yep. And the whole point of this podcast is the fear of it. When you're starting something new and you're like, oh, shit, what am I going to do if this doesn't work? It kind of depends on your personality type. Are you the type of person that you're going to have a plan B? Or are you the type of person like me Because I am not that type of person. Are you the type of person that you're like, I'm just going to make it work? It's okay to be one or the other. If you're going to have a plan B, then just go for it. Like if you fail, we got plan B. It's fine. Or you'll have the mindset of like, I'm going to do it. It's going to be fine. We're going to make it work.
Right. And I mean, I'm kind of that way, but I'm more of a just jump in with both feet and figure it out as you go. Because let's be honest, you're going to fail somewhere. Mm-hmm. And if you don't just go for it, you can't walk a fence line the entire way. Nobody's got that perfect a balance. And if you did, you'd be in the Olympics and you wouldn't have failed.
Okay. No. Just no.
Anyway, just you jump in and just go for it and just be ready to change what you're doing. And don't even look at it as a failure. Be like, okay, well, I can't go that way anymore, so I got to go that way now.
Do you think that the fear of failure sometimes comes from like the persona? Like the persona that maybe someone's trying to hold up, or, you know, what you might look like if you fail.
Like they're putting up like a wall and they're like, what's
like,
the
man,
word?
I don't want to be embarrassed if I fail.
They're putting up a front, basically, like,
yeah,
this is me, this is me, this is me, and what you're seeing is not
the real
them, you mean?
Well, not even just that, but it's like, if I start this, you know, I'm giving up like whatever to start this business. What if I fail? I'm going to look like a dope, or like,
they're afraid of what other people think. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you failed at this. You suck. Who are you? Like Alex,
that. Jeez.
I mean, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like people are afraid of what others will think if they fail.
You know what I say to that?
What do you say to that?
Screw the haters.
Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potate.
I love potatoes. Mashed potatoes. Mash them potatoes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the more successful you get, the more haters you're going to have, because naturally more people will have seen your work or seen what you're doing and know about what you're doing.
Okay, but in terms of like fear of failure, if you're just starting, then you're not going to necessarily have that many haters, because you're just starting.
If we're going to talk about starting, then if your fear is that people are going to look at you in any sort of way if you fail, then you're already doing it for the wrong reason. Do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because you want to look good for everybody else.
There it is. That's what I was trying to get out of you. There it is.
Just like she knows how to push my buttons to make me really, really mad, she knows how to like prompt me to say nuggets like that.
Yeah.
This is a short one. Embrace the failure. I mean, really, I mean, I think that's the name of the game is, instead of being afraid to fail, be ready to fail and expect to fail and welcome the failure.
Yeah.
Because if you welcome it, you're going to prepare yourself to learn from it and adapt and go a different direction that's still toward where you want to be.
And I think a lot of it is like you have to be okay with being uncomfortable. When I quit my job, I definitely was not comfortable. I think I've talked about this before, but taking the leap is an uncomfortable thing to do. And a lot of the times when you're doing that, you're afraid to fail. And I think it's like a muscle. Like you have to kind of exercise it. Especially for me, you know, when I took the biggest leap ever and quit my job, and since then, I mean, I've done like little things here and there of taking the leap and just kind of jumping in with both feet, like Alex said. And it's harder and harder each time because it doesn't happen as often, because I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm comfortable with my business, but I feel like it's an exercise and it's a muscle that you, as an entrepreneur, you should be doing, because you're not going to grow unless you are putting yourself in uncomfortable positions and risking it for the biscuit.
Now, you said that it happens less often, but I think that it's not that it happens less often. It's just that the small failures that you used to get like focused on and caught up and have caused to affect you, because you've gotten so far and gotten past so many of the hurdles, if it does happen, it's so minuscule, you know that it's not worth your energy to even worry about. So you just move past it and then forget about it. I wouldn't say it doesn't happen. It's just, it's not,
well,
it ain't no thing.
Right. Well, there isn't anything recently, personally, that like I have a huge fear of failing with.
Right. Okay.
I would say that the studio was one, and I mean, that was a big one for me. But what I'm saying is, like, I think it's important to exercise that muscle, because I feel like it pushes you. It pushes you to do more, to do better, and to learn and to grow.
Right.
And that ultimately makes you successful.
And with like, yeah, exactly. And I think people that avoid that are the ones that are like caught up in the perfectionist culture. Mm-hmm. And it's better to finish something than it is to finish a perfect something. You know why? Because you're never actually going to finish a perfect anything.
Right.
Because perfection doesn't actually exist. Unless it's scientific and math.
Right.
Then it does. But that's not what we're talking about. But when you finish something and it's not perfect to your specs, you're afraid. A lot of people, because they don't do that because they're afraid that they're going to fail at that thing.
Yeah.
But what you do is you finish it, look at what you can do better, what you could have done to make it better, and just apply those concepts to the next thing you do.
Yeah.
That's similar.
Yeah. That's good. Moral of the story: Nike, just do it. Sponsor us.
Yeah, Nike.
I'm just kidding.
Give me some forces.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I like this topic. It's kind of short, but I think it's a necessary thing to talk about. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, it's something that I think you should be aware of and just be mindful of it. You know, if you're afraid to change something up or do something maybe that you've wanted to do in your business for a long time, but you don't know if it's going to work, just do it.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
we
just
all
do it.
dealt with that last year. We all got real uncomfortable last year.
Yeah.
With COVID and in every business. And so many businesses had to change things up.
Right.
And change their concepts. And we've seen a lot of innovation because of that. We
have something coming up that I'm really afraid to fail at.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah. But we're doing it. Yeah,
we're just doing it. And this is like a totally different type of thing. This is coming with a lot of prayers. And it's a different mindset for me with this rather than when I quit my job. I was like, hey, we're just going to make it work. This is something that like we pretty much got one shot at it.
And there's only so much we can do, and we're doing everything we can do about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, beyond that, it's
all in the Lord's hands for sure. But
so do what you can and embrace what you can't.
For the biscuit. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it.
Any closing thoughts? Closing statements for the jury?
I don't think so. I think that's it. Hopefully this like podcast made sense to people. Hopefully y'all resonate with this topic because I think it is an important one. Hopefully we weren't too all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I feel solid.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I think in the comments in YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, go to YouTube. Let's make another discussion. I'll make this a thing if I can keep thinking of things to comment. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about failure. When did you fail? When's the time you can think of that you failed?
And then you learn from it.
And it made you better because of the failure.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. We will see you on the next one.
On the flip flop.
See you on the flippity flip. Peace.